And just to kind of go over those 3 routes of communication here once again, using this really nice schematic image here, we've got the cross-section of the spinal cord or brainstem, again, thinking about that this could also be parasympathetic. We've got the lateral horn, the specific area that the fibers arise from. They can either synapse onto a autonomic ganglia that's a part of the sympathetic chain, then out to their effector organ, or they can synapse onto an adrenomedulla chromaffin cell, and then that cell will release its contents behaving just like a postganglionic neuron. And then the third route here is that it can synapse onto a ganglia that's not a part of the sympathetic chain, and we can refer to this as a collateral ganglia or a prevertebral ganglia, okay? And then from there, it's then going to synapse out to its effector organ. All right. And I kind of want to go into the background of why this adrenal gland chromaffin cell synapse happens, why it's possible. When we think about the overall function of the sympathetic nervous system, this is the fight or flight division of the nervous system. And so these responses need to be really fast, right? If you spot a threat, if you're in danger, if you need to flee from, an emergency, your body needs to elicit this response very, very quickly. And so the adrenal medulla and the chromaffin cells is a way to get the hormones that we talked about, so norepinephrine and epinephrine, which are really the fight or flight hormones. It's a way to get those hormones into the blood and circulated throughout the body very, very quickly, okay? If we were to rely on the one-to-one synaptic communication that we see in some of the other options here, as well as the communication in the parasympathetic system, that's just too slow for an immediate fight or flight response. And so the option of synapsing onto an adrenomedulla chromaffin cell, and then having that cell flood the system with this epinephrine and norepinephrine is one way that we can ensure that the sympathetic response, the fight or flight response is immediate, is rapid, and that's really a protective measure, an evolutionary protective measure, so that we can avoid danger and we can escape threats easily, okay? And so that's the whole science behind why this is an option as far as the sympathetic nervous system goes. We don't see anything like this in the parasympathetic system, and the response doesn't need to be as immediate as it does for the sympathetic nervous system. Okay. All right, so let's keep going here. And let's think a little bit more here about the anatomy of the, actually, I won't get into this drawing because we're almost out of time. But let's just kind of talk about the anatomy here, and we'll pick up this next time. So the anatomy of the sympathetic nervous system is such that the preganglionic fibers arise from, lateral horn, as we described.